on, guys? It's Alex. Welcome to another episode of the Long 2 NBA podcast. This is episode number 47. I'm with my co-host Nathan today.
What's up?
Seth isn't here. But, yeah, we're kind of in the dust has kind of settled from the off-season. We're kind of in the dog days of summer waiting for the NBA season to start. But, like I said, everything has kind of happened. And we're going to use this episode to give our predictions for the 2020 season. Talk about all the awards and kind of some fun little stuff that we wrote down. 5 things we are predicting will happen or hope to happen or whatever. And we're just going to cover some news real quickly that we haven't been able to talk about yet. Sorry it's been so long since the last episode. We've just been busy and things have been kind of slow, so I didn't want to do like a 20-minute podcast over one topic. So we didn't get to talk about the Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook trade yet. So the details were that the Thunder traded Russell Westbrook to the Rockets for Chris Paul, 2 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. So they essentially traded spots, and now James Harden got his wish of being paired with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook got his wish of being moved to somewhere he wanted to play after Paul George decided he didn't want to be with the Thunder anymore. And poor Chris Paul has been left out in the cold. So what was your initial reaction to the trade, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I thought it was something they had to do.
Who, the Rockets?
Yeah, because it seems like everyone around them got better. And
Yeah. Do you think this trade makes them better?
I think it did.
Yeah, I think it did too.
Especially because Russ is a lot more durable, so he'll play a lot more.
True, and he's a little younger, like 3 or 4 years younger.
Yeah, exactly. When his contract is up, he'll be the same age as Chris Paul is now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Maybe even younger, but and you have the tension that they were talking about between Harden and Chris Paul.
Yep.
I think Harden and Chris Paul were a better fit, but just like with each other. But maybe Russ can actually be that guy who runs the second unit consistently, because even though Paul was doing that, he was only playing 40 to 50 games and couldn't really beat his man off the dribble. So
yeah, and Westbrook can do that. My initial reaction was I wasn't too surprised because one of his destinations was the Rockets, so I kind of had thought in my head, that was probably going to happen anyways, that either that or Miami. But when it actually happened, I was kind of like, oh wow, now you actually have to worry about like the fit and stuff, because that's my main concern is how, because they're both ball dominant players. I'm wondering how they're gonna play together, and what sacrifices each of them are gonna have to make for not only the other superstar, but for the rest of their teammates, because they got a solid squad. You know what I mean? Like you got Clint Capella, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker. That's going to be their starting 5, those 3 and Russ and Harden, right?
Absolutely.
So,
and it's a good starting 5.
Yeah, no, that's a great starting 5. It's just if it doesn't work out where they can sacrifice, where everybody can eat and play really well, then I don't really see it working. And the reason I don't see it working is because, like I said, they're both 2 ball dominant guys, and Westbrook can create space on the floor by driving, but he can't create space by being a shooting threat.
I think
it could work if they make the right sacrifices.
I agree, and I also think the days of like the 1A and 1B, I think those days need to be over if they want to, accomplish anything in the playoffs. Because I don't think Harden's a backseat guy.
No, neither of them are.
Yeah, but Russ is going to have to be, I think, in this case.
And he did a good job with that with Paul George last year.
With Paul George, exactly.
So I think he could do it this year. It's just, I don't know. It kind of seemed towards the end of their season he stopped deferring to Paul George as much. Even though
Paul George was injured.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That was probably part of it with the shoulder thing. So, yeah, I don't know. If they can both stay healthy, which they have a track record of doing so, I guess they should be okay. But it is James Harden's team, and I'm pretty sure Russ knows that.
Right.
And they should be able to work it out. It's just I'm skeptical of it until I can see it happen. You know what I mean? So
the reason I really like their chances is because not only just Russ, but the guys like Gerald Green, Clint Capella, PJ Tucker, Austin Rivers, like they have they have a real supporting cast this time.
Yeah,
Which I don't think Russ really had outside of Paul George that could like offensively you could count on.
yeah,
It was really just Paul George in
yeah,
Oklahoma City.
yeah. Well, who could efficiently give you a good
Yeah,
offense? Russell
like
Westbrook is not
who
really that guy as far as efficiency.
e- exactly.
But yeah, I agree. Um, let's talk about it for the Thunder. So obviously they have like what 8 first round picks now
Right.
by dealing away their 2 superstars.
Mhm.
So obviously they made out like bandits here. They can use those picks to flip for another superstar, or they can use them to draft. So they have tons of options for their future. If they knew that both of their guys, because this is the report that they were both kind of disgruntled after losing in the first round back-to-back years, if
Right.
they knew they were eventually going to have to move on from them, I think they did a hell of a job getting good assets back. I just don't get why they're going to keep Chris Paul. I think they should try desperately to move him, but that's the problem is nobody wants to trade for him at this
They
point.
want him.
Exactly. So they're in a really weird situation as far as that goes. Um, maybe they can agree to some kind of buyout, maybe, but Woj said the plan is for him to stay there, which doesn't make any sense to me because they got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to be that starting point guard. So I'm a little confused with how this is gonna work.
I think they might be in big trouble in the sense that, let's say they do trade for another star.
Yeah.
Way these players are leaving their teams without any remorse.
Mm.
Paul George just signed a contract for 4 years or 3 years and literally dipped out the second year.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
when a player requests a trade,
Yeah.
you have to you pretty much have to trade him. And OKC is a really small market, so it's going to be really tough to keep players there. So even if they traded for Bradley Beal,
Yeah.
after a year, if the Thunder are the 4 or 5 seed, Beal could easily just say, "Hey, trade me to New York or trade me to somewhere else,"
Yeah.
and they'd be pretty much stuck again. And they get more picks out of it, but like
Yeah.
I mean,
They gotta hope
you're back to
they
square
hit on
one.
those picks. Yeah.
That's
'Cause
why I think I wouldn't flip the picks.
Yeah.
I would keep them.
And that's exactly how the Thunder built their initial, failed dynasty was through the draft with KD, Russ, and Harden.
Exactly.
It never worked out for, whatever reasons. They never won a championship. They did get to the
Right.
finals, and then they ended up trading Harden because they didn't want to pay him. But they built that through the draft, so I feel like they're gonna have to do something similar to that because that's not really a free agent destination.
You have 15. You have 15 first round picks. You have to hit on one of them, right?
Yeah, at least one or two, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
you're bound to hit on one. Even if you only hit on one or two, that's even technically
good.
bad. But
Yeah. But they also
but
have Gallinari, and Chris Paul's a trade asset. I don't see him being like, it's obviously he's not the guy he once was, right?
yeah, you're right.
But I don't see him being like too much more effective for too many more years. I'd say he maybe has 2 or 3 left in him.
Yeah,
Like being
and it
an
was
effective point guard.
funny. Like I was kind of looking at who their best 3 players right now is probably Chris Paul, Steven Adams, and
Gallinari.
Gallinari.
Or Shea.
Fit wise, it's not bad because Gallinari can stretch the floor as like a stretch 4.
Right. It's not a bad team at all, but
I think Steven Adams and Gallinari are going to have really good years if Chris Paul ends up staying there the whole season, especially Steven Adams.
yeah, they just might have great years, but I can't put them in the playoffs over all the teams that we'll mention
Oh,
later.
absolutely not.
But
No.
they're not a bad team by any means. It's just you're not going anywhere when you're not making the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like they don't have anything to build on with Chris Paul there. If they keep Gallinari, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander develops into what we expect him to be, and they use those picks to either trade for another guy or guys who have star potential or whatever, or they draft well. That's setting them up greatly for the future. But as long as Chris Paul is there, I feel like it's kind of holding them back a little bit, and it's also holding Chris Paul back.
But I
don't know,
think
it's a weird situation.
absolutely, and I think Chris has a decision to make whether or not he's going to move forward as a guy who's still trying to win a championship,
Yeah.
or somebody who will accept a
Or a vet.
mentorship role.
Yeah. Or like somebody's vet.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
A handsomely paid vet.
vet. Yeah. See, and that's what I mean. How it's just a really weird situation. Like Chris Paul's being held back in that way
Yeah.
from wanting to accomplish what he's set out to do his whole career, which is win a chip. And I know that's your guy too, so this is tough for you.
Yeah, it was tough seeing him leave Houston because I started to like them, but
Yeah. They kind of did him wrong. I'm not gonna lie. But
yeah, but they paid him a lot of money.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So
He's
I just hope this works out for the Rockets, which they did get better, I think, for sure. Uh, Russell Westbrook being the attacker that he is and relentless player that he is should open up opportunities for everybody else.
right.
And he's also a good passer and whatnot. And he will not stop attacking you. So this
I still
I
think
don't think
he's
they're
a
gonna get
top.
over the yeah you still think he's a what top point guard?
Like yeah, like a top floor general. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, for sure.
he can make pieces around him work.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think I think I kind of criticize him a little too much, but I agree with what you're saying. I was gonna say something else. Yeah, no, that should make them better. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to get them to the finals, considering you've got both LA teams there and Denver who's on the come up and stuff. I mean, nothing's gonna come easy. They could definitely get to the West Finals and potentially beat one of the LA teams, but I don't know. I'm still not quite sold on them until I see how they play. I guess this goes for everybody. I'm not sold on the Lakers mainly. The Clippers I can see working immediately, but as far as the Lakers go and the
Right.
Rockets and stuff, I got to see how they play throughout the season to really predict that kind of thing, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about how they're going to play together right now. And that's probably going to change. I mean, we're going to see how every team is playing throughout the season, so I guess
Yeah.
we'll see. You got any other thoughts on that trade?
Um. Well, I could definitely see them winning a championship.
Okay.
Um.
The Rockets?
Just because the pieces, right? Just because the pieces around him.
Yeah. They have a great team.
They've got shooters.
Yeah.
You know.
But the problem is there's
The
so many
Tucker
other
can
great
shoot.
teams too.
Yeah. There's like when I really looked at it, there was like I know people said there's 6, 7 contenders who can win a championship, but I really kind of
Probably
looked
more
at
like
it.
4.
And probably more like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think Houston's one of them.
Yeah, they definitely could be. There's just so many good teams. Like somebody's gonna get eliminated early, and that's gonna suck. And
Clint's the X factor to me.
yeah, that's true.
Clint Capella. Because if we get 2017, 2018 Clint Capella, I think they have a legitimate big three. Like,
Yeah,
because that Clint,
their whole starting
mean-
5 is really nice.
right?
Like even
Yeah.
Eric Gordon when he's healthy is nice.
Eric Gordon. I even forgot to mention him earlier, but I mean, if they can get 2018 versions of Eric Gordon and Clint Capella, who are both 18 plus per game scorers,
Yep.
really good defenders.
Yep.
They, I could definitely see them winning the championship, but those two to me are the X factors.
Yeah, they have to be the best version of themselves,
Absolutely.
and especially in the playoffs.
Exactly.
yeah,
Those two
I could-
disappeared these playoffs.
Well, they had their moments, but especially Capella.
Yeah.
Eric Gordon had some great moments, especially versus the Warriors.
Yeah, he'll be a guy who
Clint
gives
Capella
you
kinda disappeared.
25. He'll be a guy who gives you 25 points one night and literally 4 or 5 points on 1 for 12 shooting.
It's really
other
hit or
night,
miss
Eric
sometimes
Gordon.
with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I can see them definitely. Yeah, they're definitely contenders. It's just, like I said, some teams that are really good are going to end up going home in the first or second round. And
Yep.
you hate to
Somebody's
see
going to
it.
be disappointed.
Yeah, for sure. But that's great news too, because that means there's so much competition and competitiveness and great teams now. It's like, I just can't wait
Mhm.
to see. Like, it's gonna hurt to see some teams go home that had such high expectations.
Injuries, I'm sure, are going to factor in
It
like
happens
they
every
do
year.
every
As
year.
much as you hate to see the injuries happen, or you obviously don't want them to happen. They happen every year.
They're gonna take at least. They always take at least one or two legit playoff teams out of the running.
Something like
Uh,
that. Yeah. What was it? What were the injuries last year? I know Nurkic got injured.
Oladipo took the
Vic
Pacers
Oladipo.
out.
Yep, that's right.
And then even if you go back a year before, everyone was talking up the Pelicans, and then
Chris Paul also
DeMarcus.
got it. Yeah, it happens. Something happens every year, unfortunately.
The
So,
East, Kyrie.
yep, I remember that.
Year
All right.
before, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, man, it happens. It does happen.
Yep.
Last year, I feel like it was less so. I mean, Kevin Durant injury, that was big.
Yeah.
So maybe not. So never mind.
And Oladipo was big too, because
Yeah,
the Pacers were really good.
Yeah, they were.
They were a 30. They were like, I remember they were one of like they were close to Golden State. I would say around January in the standings. It was like, oh, the Pacers were 2 or 3 games back from Golden State. They were up there in the standings, is what I'm
They're
saying.
still
Like,
good
they
without
were
Oladipo because they're just very well coached and have a lot of solid guys.
right, but Oladipo, if you remember the year before the playoffs, I mean, he was great.
Yeah, went in Game 7 versus the Eastern Conference champs.
Exactly.
Barely
Exactly.
lost. Could have won that
Yep.
series, actually.
They should have. Honestly, you could argue
There
they
was
should have.
The missed goaltend, and then LeBron hit the game winner and went all the way
Yeah.
to 7. Yeah, I mean, you never know. You really never
Yep.
know. But let's move on here. So 2 quick things. Kyle Korver joins the Bucks on a 1-year deal. Great pickup, another shooter to help space the floor, and just good basketball player, honestly.
Yeah. High IQ.
Yep, played for Coach Bud in Atlanta, and pretty much the best years of his career he had under Coach Bud. So
Right.
that's great. He was an all-star under Coach Bud too. He's not going to be that now, but he's
If
definitely
they get that
definitely a great
version,
shooter. They're not going to get all-star Kyle. It's not going to happen.
yeah,
He's too old. these
pencil
days.
them in and pencil them in the finals if they get in, because that guy could not miss.
No, but yeah, he's going to be great again in his system, and that played a big role in him picking the Bucks apparently. So, but yeah, they're going to be great. The Bucks are. So, and then the other thing is this is a win for everybody in the world. Players Only has been canceled.
Thank God.
I was when I saw this news, I was so happy because I've bitched about it for 2.5 years.
Everyone has. It's just bad.
About how bad it was on TNT. So thank God they're getting rid of that. I hope that doesn't reduce the number of national TV games. I hope it just means we're gonna have actual commentators doing them.
Yeah.
Like if it means reducing the amount of national TV games, then I don't like that. But if it just means we're getting rid of the Players Only completely, but still having the same amount of TV games, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I don't ever want to hear Chris Webber call a game ever
To
again.
me, Greg Anthony is the worst. I can't stand
Oh,
listening
my
to Greg
goodness.
Anthony.
Bro always talks about his glory days. Like,
Oh
come
my
on,
God.
man.
And I can't stand
All of them do.
Yeah, I can't. Reggie Miller, I can tolerate, but I can't stand Kevin McHale
I can't.
either. Can't do Kevin McHale and Greg Anthony. If they're on a broadcast together, I am going to fall asleep. Like
Davis,
I have to watch the local team feeds. I can't watch it if it's Players Only. So anyway,
Well, how
thank
are
God
we
that's
gonna do that?
Oh yeah, NBA Streams has been booted off the internet. So hopefully there's some other way we'll figure out when the season starts. But yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so
I hope they don't find the NFL streams, because there's one just like that for NFL games. I really hope they don't get to that one.
oh man, that would be tough.
Not trying to pay
I'm
$300.
sure an alternate will come up for NBA. It has to happen. The internet is undefeated. All right, so let's move on to our predictions for the 2020 NBA season. We've got a list of. Let me see here. What did I tell y'all to write down? So we've got our awards picks and our playoff teams, and then 5 predictions or / things we want to see in the upcoming season. So let's. You want to just start with awards?
Yep.
All right. I guess I'll start. We're gonna go MVP, Rookie of the Year, 6-man, Defensive Player, Most Improved, Coach of the Year, then Executive.
Yep.
All right. So my MVP, I think Giannis is gonna repeat, especially if they finish at the top of the East again. And
Right.
I also got like LeBron, Kawhi, But LeBron and Kawhi to me are kind of out of it because I know they're going to be taking games off, and I know Giannis is not really going to do that. Or it could even be like a dark horse guy, like a Nikola Jokic or Damian Lillard or even Donovan Mitchell. It could happen. Those are kind of stretches. Joel Embiid, if he's healthy most of the season. There's a lot of picks. But if I had to just pick one of them, I would go with Giannis because he's durable, and I know he's probably going to play all the games, and they're going to be at the top of their conference more than likely as the 1 or 2 seed. So I got Giannis repeating. What about you?
I have Anthony Davis.
That's interesting.
Oh, that's probably interesting coming from me, but I think I've kind of taken a 180 on AD. Okay. Just kind of going back and watching, not this season, but the year before when they kind of had something to play for. This season
was really fluky.
And I just think in terms of skill, him, Kawhi, and Kevin Durant, I think are just the 3 best players just because they can do everything. And right. I think he's going to stay healthy, relatively healthy for the season.
LeBron should belong on that list too.
He can't do everything.
Yes, well,
these
so
guys
much defensively anymore, but sure,
exactly.
I get where you're coming from.
That's where I was like, and just in terms of skill, these guys can defend at an extremely high level, which LeBron can't anymore. It's not his fault. He's 34, 35,
right.
Or 34. Yeah. But just he can do everything. He can shoot. He can put the ball on the floor. He can dominate in the paint. It's going to be a matchup nightmare for teams like the Clippers, the Nuggets.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't have him on my list is because he's playing with LeBron James. I feel like they're going to take votes away from each other and skew it somewhat.
But LeBron's really good at managing in the regular season. I think he's going to manage. I think he's going to dial it back is what I'm saying.
True. This is also probably his best teammate he's ever had.
Yeah.
Or one of the best teammates he's ever had.
Easily.
Yeah,
easily.
So, yeah. It could happen. We've never really seen this before. So, as far as with LeBron having another superstar teammate, so we'll see. I mean, that I could see it happening. It's kind of, I think it's going to go to one of those guys though who don't necessarily have another superstar on their team. Sure, they have other all-star caliber players and really good talent around them, but not another star. You know what I mean?
Well,
like Jokic or Lillard. I feel like they could potentially win it if they're a top 3-4 seed and are and they're the main guy, and they don't have other they have other all-star caliber players but no other stars.
Yeah, I could see that also. That I could definitely see that impeding his ability to win it, but I just think he's gonna because he was relatively quiet last year. Even though his numbers are, obviously great. I just think Anthony Davis.
Right. Well, I think because he only played half the game. He missed a ton of games, and then he only played 20 minutes a game or something like that towards the end of the season.
Right.
So we didn't really get to see his full a full season of Anthony Davis. When I go back you were and watch old highlights from when they had something to play for and he didn't request to be traded.
Yeah.
He's one of the best in the NBA for a reason. You know what I mean? So
unstoppable.
Yeah. So I could definitely see it. It just, like I said, playing with LeBron might hurt his chances a little bit. But if the Lakers are the 1 seed or the 2 seed, it could happen. And he's healthy. That's another thing. He's always missing games here and there all the time.
Yeah, and I think
for this reason or that reason.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing too.
He's got to stay healthy, especially when the playoffs come, because they're hoping to make a championship run. He's got to be healthy for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. You got anything else as far as MVP goes?
No, I think AD.
All right. Let's go. Actually, let me defend Giannis a little bit. So I have him repeating because obviously we know what he does as far as scoring the ball. He's working on his shot. He can actually shoot, and he takes the shots. 27 a game gives you 10, 11 rebounds, whatever. And he's also a really good passer for his position. And he's an excellent defender. And again, if they finish at the top of their conference as the 1 or 2 seed, I think he's got a really good chance to repeat, especially because he's durable. So
yeah,
I think I might have already said all that, but no, he's an excellent scorer. He's dominant, We've seen that. Let's go Rookie of the Year. Who do you got for Rookie of the Year? This probably
He's
is
from he's from New Orleans.
He plays for the
Nikhil
Pelicans?
Alexander Watkins. No, Walker. I mean,
You just botched
yep.
that. So I thought you were gonna say Zion. Are you making a joke or are you being for real about Nick Alexander?
I'm dead serious.
I hope you're not basing this off summer league.
Nope.
I,
Well,
you,
partly.
I know you are partly, but it's. I told myself I am not going to overreact to summer league anymore. Like I'm not going to take anything away from it because I've tried to before and I've been completely wrong one way or the other about.
Let me
summer
ask
league,
you
or
this.
at least the Twitter verse has been. But no, before you say that,
Yeah.
Nick Alexander, excellent basketball player from what I saw in summer league, like really good. But is he gonna? I don't think because he plays for the Pelicans, I don't think he's gonna beat out Zion for it. Just because the national media is gonna be all over Zion, and that's the way narratives and awards are driven in the NBA. So, but not a bad pick at all. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, when's the last time a number one pick, like, cause think about it. Last year, we were like, oh, Aiton, Aiton or whoever,
It's been a while
Marvin
since,
Bagley.
It's been a while since a number one pick has won it.
It's exactly. It's all. I feel like it's like there are times where it's that guy who we didn't see coming, that has that chip on his shoulder. I think it's gonna be Nick. I think Nick's that guy. He's that Donovan Mitchell.
Right. Yeah. I
That
can see
That Trey Young just slept on.
Yeah.
He's
'cause
really talented
so
too.
many people doubted Trey Young going into the season last year after summer league, and then he just shut them all
Ridiculous.
up. And now he's gonna be so good next year. But yeah, I can see that, like you said, Donovan Mitchell kind of coming out of nowhere, kind
Yeah.
of not a well-known name, but turns out to be a really, really good NBA player. Like the Pelicans are going to be really fun to watch. He might
yeah.
even earn their starting point guard spot over Lonzo.
I think.
Might end up trading Lonzo again. Who knows?
Eventually.
But it could happen. But I don't think I think just because he plays for the Pelicans and with Zion, Zion's going to be the spotlight.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for me to see Nick Alexander winning it. My pick was Ja Morant, actually.
Okay. I like
didn't-
that pick.
I didn't want to go with Zion because no one would
Easy.
be surprised if he wins it.
Yeah.
But I just think Ja Morant's going to have a season where he comes in averaging, 18, 19 a game as well as 7, 8 assists. It's kind of a similar season that Trey Young had last year. I feel like he's going to have that same type of season. And if he does on the Grizzlies, then I think that gives him a really nice chance at it. But the obvious pick is Zion.
Yeah.
But I just wanted I wanted to go with Ja Morant because he's electric and he's going to be so much fun to watch, I think. And especially if he can have a season like Trey Young had last year, I think he's got a nice chance.
Yeah.
All right.
I can see that definitely.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Sixth Man of the Year. This shouldn't even be a debate. Lou Williams is going to win his, fourth Sixth Man of the Year? Right? Is it his third or fourth?
He'd be his fourth.
It'll be his fourth. Yeah. To me, it's not a question. He's going to be the best sixth man on the best team. Or one of the best teams, I should say. And I don't think it's really close.
It gets so close
maybe
that I'm not picking him.
It'll be a little bit close between him and, say, like... Actually, let me hear what you're going to say first. You're not picking him?
Nope.
All right, who you got?
Domantas Sabonis.
Domantas Sabonis.
Sorry.
He would have been my sixth man last year had the Pacers been healthy. They probably would have been like the third seed.
He's been in it for
the
last 2 years.
He's been excellent for them. One of their best players. But
Right.
he's not as good as Lou Will, in my opinion.
I just think,
He's definitely great.
depending on the load management, Lou Will might even have to start a couple of these games.
That's true.
Paul George might not even start the season. He just got shoulder surgery on both of his shoulders.
He's healthy now.
So
He's going to start the season. He said he's got two
I
healthy
don't-
shoulders.
I hope so.
He will. He's
But
not going to start. I haven't heard
I've
anything
got
about that.
I've got reservation, but I think it's actually just more about Sabonis. I think he's gonna have a great year, and I think the Pacers are also gonna have a great year. That's why I'm.
Yeah. So if the Pacers,
You know how the rewards.
the Pacers are going to be really good. They're an underdog for sure. If they finish as one of the top 3 seeds in the East, and the
Yeah.
Clippers are not one of the top 3 seeds in the West, which is kind of hard for me to see. Yeah, he's got a great shot at winning it. I like that pick. I just feel like Lou Will's too good, averaging 20 off the bench. That's crazy.
I wanted to add this: the rewards, the MVP, MIP, DPO, like those, they reward winning teams. They seem to favor the teams that win a lot. So that's why I'm kind of, I'm banking on the Pacers having a great year, and I think they're going to reward him as a result.
Okay, I like that, but you don't think they'd reward the Clippers for being a winning team?
Well, like I said, I think Lou Will's going to start a couple of these games.
Right. And he's done that before and still won the 6-man, but sure. I can see it, for sure. That's a great pick. I mean, I was kind of leaning towards him last year as 6-man of the year, but Lou Will kind of ran away with it at the end. I mean, he averaged 20 off the bench on really good shooting, so and he just had a lot of great moments. I mean, he's a phenomenal closer, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the playoffs only added to that, even though that doesn't count towards the award.
Yeah.
Still, he's really nice.
Got
Right.
3 guys who can close for you in the playoffs if you're the Clippers.
That's unbelievable. Okay, so you got anything else for 6-man?
Nope.
All right, let's get to Defensive Player of the Year. I could not pick with this one. I had it between Paul George, Kawhi, and Rudy Gobert, and Joel Embiid. To me, those and Giannis, those are my top 5.
Yeah.
I think Paul George and Kawhi are out again because I think they're gonna have a lot of load management going on. But you can't really afford to do that in the West as much. So that might be, I don't know. I feel like they're only gonna play 60-something games. But anyways, I went ahead. Rudy Gobert has won it 2 years in a row. I don't know if they'd give it to him a 3rd year in a row just because they might get kind of tired of that, even though he'll be deserving. So I think it's going to come down to Joel Embiid and Giannis. I think if Embiid is healthy for almost all of the season, he has a good shot at winning it. But Giannis could win that award and MVP, again. So to me, it's between those two. I don't really know who I would pick. I think I'd bank on the durability of Giannis and give it to him. Or at least predict him to win it. Who do you have?
Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had him on my list too, but again, it's the load management thing.
I think they're going to be the best defensive team in the league, and I think when you have a player as good at defense, or a player as good as a defensive player as Kawhi,
right?
On the best defensive team, I think they're going to look at that.
Yeah,
their decision based on that.
That's why Gobert has won it. That's why Rudy has won it the past couple of years. Best
right,
defender, best defensive team.
And I also think he's the best defensive big by far too.
Yeah. I didn't mean it's just because of that. I just mean that was one of the things they looked at was like.
Yeah.
And plus, he's just a really good player, so all those things factor into it. But again, 3 years in a row, I think they're right. I think the voters would get kind of, what do they call it? The voters getting bored of that.
Fatigue.
Voter fatigue. That's right. But yeah, Kawhi could win it. You know what? They gave it to Rudy when he only played 50-something games, didn't they?
Exactly. 2017, they did.
Yep, that's
2017,
right.
18.
Yep, you're right. So it could happen. It could definitely happen. Kawhi winning. He was my pick, and then I started to think about the load management stuff. But yeah, I could definitely see it happening. You got anything else for that?
No.
All right. Most improved player. This is the hardest award to predict. Because you can't just, say, oh, this guy's going to have a breakout season or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if they were too good. Okay, say they were averaging, 18 or 19, and then they jump up to 22 or something.
Yeah.
That's a huge step, but that's not a big enough gap to win most improved. To win most improved, you have to have averaged, single-digit points and then jump up to, high teens or something like that.
I think so.
That's how I think it has to go, because that's kind of how they file out or X out, I should say, a lot of potential candidates. Because, I think about, John Collins last year. He was a sophomore, and he went from averaging, 10 points to 20 points, and he didn't win it.
Oh.
Because he wasn't on a playoff team, and he was only a sophomore season player. So I think you have to be going into your 3rd or 4th year and take a big jump to win this award, and for that reason, it's hard to predict. And you can't, and like if you had a really good season last year and then you get even better, I don't think you can win the award because like I don't know, like you were already really good. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But what you were gonna say something? I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna. No, I actually agree. I agree with your point about the like. It's such a big jump, but there's just more that factors into it also.
Right. So who's your pick for this? I've got two.
Going with Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown. That is a
I
really
think.
that's a really good pick. He's gonna have his old role back, pre Kyrie,
Yeah.
or I guess post pre Kyrie, or pre
Mhm.
post Kyrie. However you want to word that. When he was playing on that team in the playoffs after Kyrie had gotten injured the year in 2018, he was great. Like he was really good, and he's gonna have that role back now that Kyrie is gone, and Kemba is gonna be I think a more willing distributor and kind of take a back seat when needed because he knows. I think he's going to be more appreciative of the talent around him than Kyrie was, just because they're built differently. They're not cut from the same cloth. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm talking about him and Kemba and Kyrie.
I agree, and I also think I think he's gonna make the jump into not just a star, but I think he's gonna have a superstar of the year next year. It's
Superstar year.
I'm going out on a limb, but I think he's gonna be a 26, 27 guy.
26? Oh my
Yep.
God, Nate.
I'm telling you, if you saw the way he finished the year last year,
No, I know
the
how
talent.
good I know how talented he is and what potential he has. I just don't think 26 or 27 is realistic on the Celtics this year. I think he could definitely give you 18, 19, possibly 20 a game, but 26 or 27, that's like you said, almost superstar.
Telling you,
Hey
I'm
man,
telling.
you could be right, and I'm high on Jaylen Brown, but I don't think I'm like that high on Jaylen Brown. But I'm excited for him, both him and Tatum, to have those roles that they had in the
Their
2018
old
playoffs
roles.
because they are going to be a really fun team. That's kind of might be a little bit underappreciated right now, but again,
Absolutely,
it'll change as the season starts and progresses. But that's a great pick, and I like it. I think he could, like I said, I think he could definitely give you somewhere in the range of 18 to 20 a game for sure. And,
yeah.
and
And
also he's
Brad,
a solid defender too. And Brad Stevens, excellent coach.
he needs no more bringing him off the bench.
Oh yeah, no,
He
no, no.
needs to
He's got
start.
to start for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, their starting five is going to be Kemba, Jalen, Tatum, Cantor, and Gordon Hayward. I assume Gordon Hayward's going to come back better and stronger. I mean, he
I,
had a bad
I
season last year, but it was his first season coming back from a horrific injury. He should be, at some point of the season, close to what he once was in 2017. 2017
I
Hayward, or
my
I guess.
problem's not with him.
What's the problem?
Can't start Enos.
Yeah, Cantor is a nice solid piece to come off your bench and
Yeah.
give you 14, 15 points any given night. But that's what he's good for. He's not like starting center caliber player, in my opinion. Is that kind of what you're
And
thinking?
right, and if you look at the rest of their starting lineup, they have some pretty questionable defenders on there.
Yeah, that's true. They're not going to be a good defensive team. They might be okay, just because Brad Stevens can, kind of put them in the right spots and call out switches and stuff or whatever. So they're probably going to be middle of the road or closer to the middle of the bottom as far as defense goes.
Yeah,
Just because they don't have like great defensive players. So that's a
yeah,
good point. But they're still going to be a fun team to watch for sure.
for sure.
So my two picks for most improved player are I have two. I have Karis LeVert. I think he's going to be the starting shooting guard over Joe Harris on the Nets. I don't think he should be coming
Agreed.
off the bench at all. And I think he's going to have a great season next to Kyrie Irving in the backcourt, assuming Kyrie Irving likes his Nets teammates more than he liked his Celtics teammates, and that he's willing to to share the ball and stuff a little more than he was with Boston. I just hope this
All
change in
task for
team and scenery
Kyrie.
and organization really helps Kyrie kind of change a little more. and deferring to his teammates. That is in that respect. So I think Karis LeVert is going to have a great season, whether he starts or comes off the bench. And then my other pick was Kevin Huerter of the Atlanta Hawks. I picked Kevin Huerter because he's coming into his second year. He averaged like 9 points a game last year. He's gonna emerge as their third or maybe fourth option of scoring this year. He should be starting, I believe, and I think he's gonna average somewhere in the ballpark of 15, 16 points a game. And I think the Hawks are gonna make a pretty serious run for the 7th or 8th seed this year.
Yeah.
And if they make the playoffs, and he averages 15, 16 a game maybe. He's an excellent three-point shooter too, just a good shooter in general. If he can do all that, I think he's got a good case. But again, he's going to be a second-year player, and usually this goes to like third or fourth-year players. So I don't know. That's kind of a risky pick.
You gonna start at the 2 or the 3? Because I was watching him, and I think he'd be a nice 3.
He'd be a nice 3, but then they got Cam Reddish and
who's honestly
a
he's a natural 2.
Yeah,
Cam.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, Cam played 2. Kevin Huerter played 2 last year. It's just going to be hard to figure out. This is a great problem for the Hawks coaching staff to have. Who's going to start and in what position. The goal though is to have the young core be the starting 5 eventually, regardless of what position they're going to play. The goal is to have Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, and John Collins all out there. Like that's probably going to be the closing unit and eventually the starting 5. It won't be that way immediately, but that's the plan, I assume.
That's talent right there.
That is a lot of talent and a lot of potential. The Hawks are going to be something nice in the coming years. You got anything else on most improved though? Could go to Lauri Markkanen. That'd be a nice pick.
Good. He's
I was
talented.
just thinking about the Bulls, another young, talented core. You got anything else though for MIP?
Nope.
All right, let's go to Coach of the Year. To me, this is I picked Doc Rivers. Who'd you pick?
Doc Rivers.
Yeah. This is the best team he's ever had, probably, unless you count the 08 Celtics. But I think these Clippers are going to be better than the 08 Celtics.
Oh, actually, I had D'Antoni.
You had Mike D'Antoni?
Yeah.
I could see it too. I mean, there's so many coaches who are capable of winning this award. I just think it's going to go to Doc Rivers because he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. We saw what he's done with the underdog teams, like the Clippers last year took the Warriors to 6 games, got them into the playoffs when they were projected to be a bottom feeder. Is just a really smart basketball mind and one of the best coaches in the NBA, like I said, and he just gets the most out of his guys. And I think he's going to have the opportunity to win a championship next year. Like, I would not be surprised at all if they won it. And he's a championship coach already. So I think next year he's probably going to win it. Do you agree with that? And why did you pick D'Antoni?
Well, I think they always give it to 90% of the time they're going to give it to the team with the most wins.
Yeah, for sure.
Or they're going to give it to, well, it's either the most wins or the overachieving team, and I just think most wins.
You think the Rockets will have the most wins?
Regular season, yeah.
Yeah, they're a regular season. I didn't want to say they're a regular season team, but they're a team who performs very well in the regular season.
Listen, the last 5 years of the NBA, they're top 5 in wins.
No, yeah.
They always win a lot of games in the regular season. Like, they're just really good, like, in that department. They're just always reliable.
They're a very good regular season team.
And this year,
they're a good playoff team, too, sometimes. It just depends what version you get.
But think about it. Even this year, they suffered a bunch of injuries, and they stumbled.
Yep.
And they stumbled into 53 wins in the West.
Yeah.
So it's like they're still, I don't know, they're just reliable in that sense.
That's very true. I mean, they had injuries to like Capella, Chris Paul, Eric Gordon. Those were the main 3.
Exactly.
And they still did well. So
some bearded guy was dropping 50 every other night.
Yeah, for real. some bearded
That-
guy. Yeah, I could see Mike D'Antoni winning the award for sure. There's a lot of coaches that could win it for sure, like Quinn Snyder. I don't want to say
yeah.
Brett Brown just because to me
Yeah.
he hasn't really proven to me he's a great coach yet.
No, he's
Um,
not.
So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. I think Doc Rivers though. That's my pick.
Good pick.
Yeah. All right, executive of the year. Who you got?
Lawrence Frank, Clippers.
Yep. Easy. Lawrence Frank
Easy.
managed to get
Easy.
Kawhi and Paul George in the same offseason. No way in the world he doesn't win it, I don't think.
Right. This one should already be penciled in.
Yeah. And I didn't want to say Rob Pelinka because no.
Yeah, because he only got AD, while the Clippers got two guys, superstar and borderline superstar.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. But yeah, that's all the awards. I don't really have anything else on any of those, do you?
No.
All right.
I think we hit everything.
All right, cool. Let's get to our playoff teams in each conference. We can kind of debate all this. These are in no particular order, but they're...
I put mine in order.
You put yours in order? Okay. I guess my East is in the order I think they'll finish in.
Yeah.
Or, similar to it. I don't know. They're just my playoff teams.
Yeah.
The West is kind of weird because it's really hard to rank some of these teams. But here's what I got. I got Clippers, Lakers, Jazz, Nuggets, Rockets, Blazers, Warriors, Spurs. Those are my 8 playoff teams.
Exact. Same with me. Not in that order, but same.
You got those same teams. Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets, the Rockets, let me rephrase that. The Clippers, the Lakers, pretty much all those teams should be a lock.
Yeah, except maybe one.
Except
the
for maybe
Spurs.
one, the Spurs, yeah.
And
all those
even
other
then, I
teams
mean,
are most likely locks.
Yeah.
You've got those fringe teams like the Kings and the Mavericks who are going to be battling for one of those spots next year, but ultimately I think they're going to lose out to the Warriors and the Spurs. And I think the Warriors are actually extremely underrated going into next season.
Dangerous. I would not want to play them in the first round.
I think we've forgotten how good Steph Curry is when he's the main focal point of the offense.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And then the Blazers, no matter how much you count them out, they find a way to be a top seed every year. The Nuggets made the 2nd seed last year. They're only going to get better, especially having Michael Porter Jr. back healthy. If he can stay healthy, he seems to keep getting injured. Jazz are pretty much a lock. They got really good getting Mike Conley and Bojan Bogdanovic. Obviously, the Clippers and the Lakers, both locks. Probably both going to be top 4 seeds. And then, of course, the Rockets, like you said, one of the best regular season teams of the past 5 years. Lock.
Lock.
Especially with Harden and Russ and the other really solid players they got. And then the Warriors, I think, are a lock, especially when Klay comes back. People keep saying they're going to trade D'Angelo Russell. I was like, why would you do that? I mean, they signed him to a max deal. I mean, he can run the 2 and Klay can run the 3. That's not going to be a problem at all, especially in the Warriors type of system. I don't see a reason for trading him. They should honestly keep him.
Even if you don't
in that system.
Yeah. But even if you don't want D'Angelo running, or if you don't want Klay running the 3, D'Angelo Russell's 6'5". I mean, he can run the 3. Yeah.
He'd be kind of a short 3, and he wouldn't be able to guard any of the other 3s. But hey,
but just throw Klay on that 3 then.
Yeah, Klay. I'd rather have
to guard that 3.
Klay can guard any position 1 through 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't unless he doesn't fit in that system well at all or doesn't play well with them, I don't see a reason to trade D'Angelo Russell. And he's not going to be some fill-in for Klay Thompson when he gets back, or while he's injured, I mean. And when Klay gets back, I feel like he's still going to be an integral part of that team. And I think the Warriors are pretty underrated going into next year, and it seems weird to say they're underrated considering how they've won 3 of the past 5 championships.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be a really good team, and they could upset one of those top seeds in the Western Conference playoffs, in my opinion. What are some of your thoughts on the West?
I think the top three teams are going to be Houston, Jazz, and then the Clippers. I think those three are going to be top three as far as wins.
Houston, the Jazz,
But for the
Houston,
most,
Jazz, and Clippers.
yeah, but for the most part, I think I like your. I mean, we have the same list pretty much.
The same teams, yeah.
Playoff, yep.
Okay, what's your order? Like, what's your seeding order?
So Houston, Utah, the Clippers, the Nuggets at the 4, the Lakers 5, Warriors 6, Trailblazers 7, Spurs 8.
Okay, that's not bad at all. All these teams' records are going to be really close, and they're going to be swapping all throughout the season, especially down the stretch. I mean, last year it came down to the final 2 games to figure out what the seedings were going to be, and it's going to be just like that again, but even more close, because there's so much parity in the league now, especially in the Western Conference. I mean, they're just going to be slipping and sliding all up and down the standings all year. So where everybody finishes doesn't matter too much to me. What matters is how they play in the playoffs and how they handle, the road and home games, mainly the road atmospheres. So we'll see. It's gonna be pretty crazy, but yeah, I like your list for sure. It's kind of weird for me to think the Lakers are gonna be a 5 seed, but I mean, again, because the records are gonna be so close, more than likely, and all the switching that's gonna be happening. I mean, the Clippers could end up there too. I mean, you really never know.
You never know, exactly.
All right, so let's move on to the East here. These are my playoff teams. I got the Sixers, the Bucks, the Raptors, the Celtics, the Nets, the Pacers, the Heat, and then I have the Magic, the Pistons, and the Hawks. And I can't really pick which one of those 3 are going to make the 8th seed. I would probably go with the Magic because they made it last year. The Pistons to me don't seem like they really have a direction. I mean, and they made the 8th seed last year. I think they're out. And then the Hawks are super young, so I think they're out. I think they still need another year or two. But they could surprise everybody and make that 8th seed or 7th seed. You never really know with these really good young teams. The Kings almost did it last year in the Western Conference. But yeah, give me yours?
I have the Pacers as the 1 seed, Sixers at 2, Celtics 3, Bucks 4, Nets 5, Raptors 6, Pistons 7, Heat at.
So we pretty much have the same teams for the most part, but you're a lot higher on the Pacers than I am.
And
I know they're going to be good,
team.
like sneaky good. I really agree with you, but losing Bogdanovich, they did get Brogdon, which is great, but they're going to be a really good team, no doubt. But I think the Sixers just have the star power that those other teams don't, and that's what gets you over the hump in the playoffs for the most part.
I had them at 2, the Sixers. I think they're going to be great also. Yeah.
To me, I think the Sixers. I think the conference finals in the East is going to be the Sixers and the Bucks, and I don't really know who I would pick out of those 2. I got to see how Horford fits in and how Josh Richardson does with the Sixers. And I got to see if the Bucks can still be the best team in the league in the playoffs, because we saw the Raptors won 4 straight against them in the playoffs last year. So we got to see what they can do to build on last year. I think they pretty much stayed the same, maybe got a little bit better, but I think for the most part they're just as good as they were last year. I don't think they really made any big moves to really get that much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But who do you have winning the East?
I have the Pacers. No, I'm just kidding. I have the Sixers.
You have the Sixers winning the East?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Pacers are more built for regular season success and wins. But again, it's the star power thing. I mean, they have Oladipo. I think Brogdon's gonna. I said on this show, I think Brogdon's gonna turn into an all-star eventually. Could be next year. But I just think the star power that the Sixers have is overwhelming for the other teams. I mean, Tobias Harris is going to have to be worth that $180 million for sure.
Which he's not.
I think last year wasn't a good example of this because he said that they underutilized him, and I believe that to be true. I think he's more than capable of being a closer and a second option on a really good team. It's just we haven't seen him have that role yet with the Sixers, and we're going to see it next year. So a lot is on Tobias Harris's shoulders for the Sixers next year. And then they got Al Horford, who's going to be an interesting fit. But we'll see. I mean, it's a lot of this is on Brett Brown and the players, so we'll see how they develop their chemistry and what system works for them. You got any other thoughts on the East?
Nope. I think it's funny though. These teams in the East need to make sure they get it done this year, because next couple of years, I think this is
Kevin Durant.
They're going to dominate this conference.
You talk about the Nets, right?
Absolutely, they're going to dominate this conference.
I knew where you were going with that. I wouldn't say they're going to dominate this conference, but they're going to be perennial perennial finals. Let me just say perennial contenders. Like, they're not going to be a contender next year just because they don't have KD. They're going to be good, though, for sure.
Think about this also before you say that.
Okay.
You mentioned Karis LeVert, right?
Yeah.
People only talk about KD and Kyrie. You got Karis LeVert.
Spencer Dinwiddie.
You got Spencer Dinwiddie. Oh, my
Jared
goodness.
Allen.
Dude, DeAndre Jordan's a nice little backup if he doesn't start.
Joe Harris.
Harris. They practically replaced D'Lo with Kyrie and added Kevin Durant. So not this year, but next year they're going. I just think. I mean.
Yeah, I would pick them to win the East next year, but
I would pick them to win the finals.
It depends on the leap Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid make. I mean, they're going to be contending with the Nets and the Bucks.
But do they fit as well?
But that has yet to be seen. You know, we'll have to see what their rosters are looking like when that time comes. But no, I absolutely agree with you that the Nets are going to be that team in the East for sure. But again, a lot of it depends on how him and Kyrie play together.
I know people talk about KD's health too, but I'm banking on KD returning to superstar form. I just think he's that good.
Exactly. If there's anybody who can do it because of not only their skill set but their work ethic and just how unbelievable of a basketball talent they are, it's Kevin Durant.
And he's 7 feet tall. He just needs to shoot. He shoots over you.
Checked.
Yeah, he's just going to shoot over you. It's not even about, athleticism as much as it is just getting his shooting touch.
Yeah.
Just like Klay. People talk about, is Klay going to return back to form? That might affect his defense, but, I mean, he's a shooter.
Exactly.
That's 80% of his, game.
Right. Facts.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, history will not agree with what we're saying right now about him coming back to form, because players who have suffered those ruptured Achilles in their 30s and even younger than that. Kevin Durant is 30. He's going to be 31 or 32 when he comes back?
He's going to be he's turning 31. I think he'll be 32 when he gets back.
Okay. 31 or 32ish when he gets back, we'll say.
Yeah.
History isn't kind to Achilles ruptures and coming back to form, but again, it's Kevin Durant, a generational talent, one of the best players of all time.
Probably the most talented scorer.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 foot. Yeah.
So if there's anybody who can do it, it's him. But again, we'll have to see what happens. That is yet to be seen,
Yeah. I would have picked him this year if he was healthy, but
oh yeah. I'm so sad Kevin Durant's not healthy, because
me too.
After this crazy, insane summer we just witnessed, he's not going to be able to be a part of the madness that takes place next year, and that's very saddening.
And people talk about how the West is the more dominant. AD's healthy. You could argue the East has 2 of the top 4 teams in the league, 2 of the top 3 teams in the league, because I think Philly's going to be. Facts. Oh, I was thinking Sixers. Yeah. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's great teams up and down the league in both conferences. You know what I mean? So.
I'm low on the Bucks, by the way.
You're low on them.
A little bit lower on them, just because I think they're going to be like a 4 seed.
Who's gonna
perennial?
Who's your top 3? Give me your seedings in order again.
Actually, what I meant to say. So this year, I think they'll be a top 4 seed this year. Okay. 3 actually, but I'm saying from here on out they'll be a perennial 4 to 5 seed. Just until they get another star to go with Giannis, because everyone else has just too many stars.
Yeah, Chris Middleton might develop into that.
Yeah,
but at this point in time, he isn't that. So we'll just have to
And
see
he
how he goes. Um, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from in the coming years, and it also depends on the strides that Giannis makes in his jump shot and stuff like that.
100%.
So we'll see. All right, you got anything else on the East playoffs or
Uh,
standings or whatever?
nope.
Anything else about the Eastern Conference?
Nothing on the East.
All right, let's get into our 5 predictions slash things we want to see happen. Um, I'll start, and we'll just kind of run through this. So, I would like to see another new MVP, somebody who hasn't won it yet, like Jokic, Embiid, Lillard, Kawhi, Paul George, Anthony Davis, any of them. I'd like to see one of them win it. Somebody who's never won it before.
Yeah.
What's yours? Give me your first one on your list.
So you're saying like the predictions for the season, right?
Yeah, or things you want to see happen.
Okay. Well, I'm predicting 460 win teams.
460 win teams.
Yep.
I'm guessing it's the Clippers, the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Jazz. I'm guessing that's your 460 wins.
Well, I had the Pacers winning the
I forgot the
the regular at the top of the East.
Right.
So I think the Pacers win 60 barely. I think the Rockets win 60. I think the Jazz and the Clippers win 60.
So I had 2 of them. Okay. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to win 60 games.
That's fair. Honestly, that's 100%
I don't
fair.
think
I'm just going out on a
get
limb.
to. I don't think anybody in the West is even going to get to 58. I think the number 1 seed will have 56 or 57 wins in the West.
You could absolutely be right. That was the case this year. I think
Yeah.
the Warriors only had, 57, 58?
Yeah, and it might even be lower than that. The number 1 seed might have 55 wins in the West. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous because there's so many good teams.
Seriously.
But I mean, that's definitely a possibility. 460 win teams. That's pretty crazy. When's the last time that happened? Has that ever happened?
I don't think so. Not lately.
Yeah. Okay. My second prediction is that the Clippers will win the NBA championship.
That's my 5th prediction.
Okay.
But
Kawhi has proven to me everything I need to know about him when it comes to the postseason, and plus they've got one of the best. Like, they're a super deep team, and they just have great players up and down. I mean, I can't see them. I can't see them losing in the first or second rounds, and I could easily see them winning the West Finals, depending who they play. I don't want to say easily because nothing's going to come easy, but
yeah,
it's easy for me to imagine that because of the talent that exists there. And I didn't even mention Paul George just now. He's been questionable in the playoffs, but he's been injured, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as far as that goes. But he's going to have to step up just as much and be that second guy.
I think, to your point, I think from here on out, obviously not the Nets this year, but I think it's going to be the 3 teams we're going to see frequently here are going to be the LA teams, Brooklyn, and the Sixers. I think those 4 are just going, yeah. But the Clippers, man, when you have defensive, and offensive, when you have two-way players, the Clippers do, and then if Paul George has one of those playoff games that he's famous, if he goes playoff Pete, you got Lou Williams and Montrez to run that little pick and roll that won him 2 games.
Unit. 2 of the best bench players in the NBA. You can argue the 2 best bench players in the NBA.
Yeah, you could, and I would agree with you. Man, that's good.
They're gonna be nice as hell next year.
I don't understand how you guard them. I don't think there's a way to guard.
And they're gonna be elite defensively.
There's no holes. They don't have any weaknesses other than, people talk about they're weak on the bigs, but Zubac is 7'1", so I don't understand how
Zubac. Man, they're nice, man.
And
for all those reasons, that's why I predicted that they'll win the championship.
I agree.
So give me your third.
Jaylen Brown will make the jump to superstardom.
You mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
That's a bold prediction.
Yep, it is.
It could happen. I just don't see it happening this quickly and over that 1 year span. But maybe in a few years from now I could see it. But
I really want him on the Hawks, man. I wanted him badly.
Hey, I think we're set.
Oh, more than set.
Right.
Man.
All right. My third prediction is that Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, and Trae Young will all be first-time All-Stars. Or that's something I'd like to see, at least.
Me too.
I think Trae and Luka may not make the playoffs. Or
probably not.
Their teams might not, but it could happen. But Donovan Mitchell, they're going to be probably a top 4 seed in the West. He should definitely, and especially if he takes another jump and averages 24, 25 next year, and becomes a better playmaker and defender and whatnot. He's already a half decent defender, but if he takes those jumps and stuff, which I know he probably will because he's just that dude, he should definitely be an All-Star next year.
I think Donovan's going to be the key to the championship for the Jazz.
Yeah, he's going to be the number 1 option.
Yep.
And Mike Conley will be probably like 1B, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And Bogdanovich was a great pickup for them. Their depth is a little strange, though. I will say that.
Yeah.
I want to see how that works out, how their bench plays. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell is definitely going to be the key. What's your third prediction?
Curry is going to have one of the greatest offensive seasons we've ever seen.
You said Steph Curry?
Steph Curry. I think he's going to break his record for threes.
Bro, that's literally my 5th prediction. Is Steph Curry has another 2016-like season, but better, is what I wrote.
I think he's going to be... I guess this would be a double prediction here, but I think not only is he going to break the record for threes, I think he's going to average 35 plus.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Yo, I can definitely see it happening. He's gonna have. You remember how he was in 2016, like 40-point games every other night, ridiculous
Ballistic.
Highlight after highlight.
Wasn't playing fourth quarters.
Yeah.
People forget that he was not. He would have probably been closer to 33 a game than 30 if he was playing those fourth quarters.
Probably
but they
closer
were just
to 36, maybe something ridiculous.
They were bludgeoning the teams they played that year. Like, it was bad.
I remember, man, and they didn't win a ring. Unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure they had like the record for most 20-point wins in a season.
Holy shit! And they went 73-9 that year. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna go. They're not gonna do that again. They're not nearly as deep whatsoever.
The
but Steph
NBA
Curry is gonna have that was also I told you that was my 5th prediction. Pretty much same exact thing. Steph Curry has another 2016-like season, but better, is what I wrote. Yeah, and I think it's going to happen. He might hit 450 threes next year.
Oh man, and I was gonna say this too. This wouldn't be like James Harden averaging 35 or what do you do 36 this year. Yeah. It would be an entertaining 35 a game.
Right.
Not entertaining, but much more entertaining.
Right.
Harden was entertaining too.
Yeah.
But
say Steph Curry plays 70 games next year.
Yeah.
And he hits 7 threes a game, which could happen. That's 500 threes in a season.
And it's just something about like this. He's just the most aesthetically pleasing player to watch ever. Yeah. I think
he's I would say he is the most fun player to watch when he's when he's doing what he does. He is the most fun player to watch, no doubt.
I've watched more Steph Curry videos of games, of throwback games, like the one versus the Pelicans, or he had a crazy one versus the Thunder, the Kings. I've watched more of those.
He's got just ridiculous highlight videos of these just incredible games that he has, and it's just the stuff he does on the court is just ridiculous. Like, he's pulling up from 36 and draining it and walking away before it even goes in, and he's doing these crazy passes, and he just plays with so much flair. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. When people say he's got a gravity to him, he really does.
And he shoots at such high efficiency. And you watch a Steph Curry game, right? And he's making all these ridiculous shots at a high clip, and it's like, you will never see somebody do this ever again, more than likely. Take this many shots and make this many shots from these many spots on the floor. You're never going to see it again, more than likely.
And people like his MVP year. He made 5 threes a game.
Hmm?
It was a record.
Hmm?
He had 5 threes a game his MVP year. He was
Yeah.
averaging.
Imagine if he hit 7. Like, that sounds unbelievable, but for
But
Steph Curry, it's not.
he was shooting them at a 40. They said 43% clip. Come
That's
on,
ridiculous, man.
come on,
And
man.
some of them were like from 35 feet. You know
Just
what I mean?
ridiculous.
Like, it's just.
If he shot like a normal human being, that's easily 48, 49%.
Oh my god! If he shot like a normal spot up shooter in today's league, and that was the way he was used as like a
Yeah.
Klay Thompson role, dude,
Yeah.
he'd be shooting 57% from 3.
Don't disagree. Do you know how hard it is to shoot off the dribble?
That's another
He's
thing we didn't
doing
mention.
this-
He's doing this off the dribble, off screens, off catches, off jumps. Like,
That's-
it literally does not matter. Like, off balance, and
That's
it's
why
still cash.
it'll never be a question who's the greatest shooter of all time.
When
I
you-
think it's going to be
exactly.
him for the next long time. I don't think we'll ever see.
As long as I'm alive, I don't think there will be a better shooter than Steph Curry. Sure, there might be guys who can emulate what he does, but not at the efficiency that he's done it at.
Man,
It's
just
ridiculous.
amazing.
Yep. Okay, so what's your fourth prediction?
Are we at 4th or are we at 5th? I thought we were.
Maybe we are.
Oh,
I
no.
don't know. I only have one more though, because you
Yeah,
had
me
one
too.
of mine and I had one of yours.
Yeah, I have one more also. I was going to say LeBron's no longer a top 5 player.
Mm.
That's what I think is going to be proved
You know
this
how I
season.
said I think we're forgetting how good Steph Curry is.
I think the same
we're-
with LeBron.
I think we're forgetting how good LeBron is.
I just think everyone around him's got better.
That's true. Everybody around him has gotten better, but I don't think he's dropped off all that much, if at all.
I think he can't shoot the same way he can, the way he could.
Well, he's
His athleticism-
gotten better as a shooter actually over the past few years.
Well, not anymore. That was like from 2012 to 2016. I know what you're talking about.
He's still a good shooter, though. I would say.
He's an okay shooter.
Sure, that's fine. That's fair.
But it's more so defensively.
Yeah, he's dropped off defensively, no doubt. But I just think last year was kind of fluky because he had kind of a really weird roster around him that didn't really fit at all. They didn't make the playoffs, and he got injured and missed 17 games. Last year was just really weird, and I hope that wasn't the beginning of like the decline for him, which I don't think it will be. He's going to be motivated as hell next year. And
Let me ask you
I
this.
think he's going to hang on before you say that. I think he's going to remind us all how good he is, and I think he'll still be a top 5 player. So I disagree with that one, but I can kind of see where you're coming from a little bit. But what were you saying?
Those guys, okay, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, AD, Giannis, right?
Right.
All those guys are top 5 to 10 defensive players.
Okay.
All top 10 offensive players.
Yep.
LeBron is a top 10 offensive player, but he's not even a top 50 defensive player. He's a below average defender.
Right, but what he does on offense is so much better than almost everybody that
I guess it depends where you have him as an
it
offensive
kind of
player.
like offsets the defensive thing a little bit. And
I would say
I think he'll be a better defender next year when he actually is motivated to play the game of basketball, because there were some points where it just like he looked like he was disinterested.
but it's about his age is for me more so.
Yeah, and that
Than
could
it
be
is,
part of the reason for that, but I don't know.
I mean,
Now that he's playing alongside a much better team and with another superstar, I think some of that will be alleviated from him, and I think he's still going to be one of the best players in the NBA.
I think he'll be one of the best too, but not top 5.
I meant to say top 5, a top 5 player. And if he's not top 5, then he's 6.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
Probably.
I understand where you're coming from. It's just like, It's really hard for me to imagine that because of what I've seen from him in the past
He's
couple of
been
years. I mean, think about the 2018 playoffs. He was the best player in the world, no doubt, throughout those 2018 playoffs. And then
he
just
mailed it in game
just
4
a,
though.
just a year later, I mean,
That game 4 of the finals, that was kind of pathetic.
well, I mean, they were going to lose anyway.
Yeah,
But
but you don't
sure.
quit.
Yeah, sure. You're right. But
You're supposed to be the best player in the world.
yeah, I see what you're saying, but that's kind of an unfair criticism, I think. But anyway, I
Well,
mean, I think
you
it's
could
just
take
funny
either
how,
or.
sure, I guess, but it's just funny how quickly people forget. Like, I will never forget that 2018 playoff run he had. I remember just being in absolute awe watching my TV. During that
Pretty weak
what was it, Game
conference.
5 against the Pacers. What was it, Game 3 against the Raptors when he hit those game-winning shots, and then just those monster 40 whatever performances against like the Celtics in the Eastern Finals, and some of those other games against the Raptors and the Pacers. He was dropping
It's
40 bombs and just unreal highlights from that postseason run he had in 2018, and then a
none
year
of
a
those
year
teams
later
had a
everybody has
player.
seemed to have forgotten about that. What were you gonna?
None of those teams had a superstar that could match up with him until he got to Golden State, and they pretty much cleared out that whole.
I
I
guess
don't.
that's fair to say, but
They
again,
almost lost to the
it's the
Pacers.
playoffs, and they had Oladipo.
Not to mention that they missed it last year.
Yeah, no, but come on, man. I mean, those two Game 7 performances and everything he did throughout those playoffs, like he dropped
It,
52, I think, against the Warriors in that Game 1, which they almost stole on the road. I mean, it's not like he wasn't great. It was just he
they,
didn't have the team around him, and he was playing
and
against good teams in the playoffs. It's
guess
not like he
what?
was doing it against scrubs.
If you go back to that game 1 too, I remember him having a chance to win the game, and then he like passed it to George Hill. Like, come on. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, it
you
did
put the
go.
game in George Hill's
J.R.
hands.
Smith
Come on,
thought they
dude.
had the lead. And he dribbled it out, and then he passed it back up to LeBron. And LeBron has done this his whole career, looked for the right shot. And the worst that was
Nah,
going to happen was they go to overtime. You criticized
that
Kawhi for doing the same thing in
absolutely,
Game 5, this
hundred
past
percent,
finals. So I
hundred
know you're
percent.
big on taking the last shot if you're the best player.
Yeah, yeah.
So I understand that, but I also don't think we should knock them for trying to make the right play.
Why I think was actually even worse because he just passed it up to Lowry, just straight up. Um, but
I don't know.
but I just think it's more about defense. I think two-way players are the new, like,
Like versatile wings.
wave. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
and
Yep.
Paul George and Kawhi are the two best, and they're on the same team. It's gonna be ridiculous. But
I think Kevin Durant, man, people forgetting
oh
about
yeah.
him too. You could
Well,
argue
unfortunately, we are going to forget about him until 2021 or
could have
late
made an
2020.
argument. He's the best player in the world still, if he
Yeah,
wasn't injured,
yeah.
obviously.
We'll have to see what he looks like when he comes back healthy. But he was no doubt top 5 player when he was healthy. I think he still is at this moment in time, but somebody else is going to take it from him. He's going to slide to 7 or 8, or maybe
That
maybe
one
stay
year,
maybe stay at 6 probably, or fall out of the top 5 just because he was injured. But when he comes back, he'll still be right up there. I think as long as he can come back as the same version of himself or close to it. What were you
I
going to say?
agree. No, pretty much that. Just
Yeah.
about him coming back.
Right. But yeah, it's unfortunate. We're gonna unfortunately forget about him for a
Oh,
year.
yeah.
But my last thing was a prediction that another superstar is gonna ask for a trade. Um,
Oh,
Unfortunately, somebody is going to get eliminated early from the playoffs and be upset about it and want to go somewhere else, probably to an Eastern Conference team.
I think for
I don't know who it would be,
yeah,
but time will tell. It seems to happen every year.
hoping we settle down because it seems like most of the guys who are, wanting to move
Have
are
moved
kind of, yeah,
or gotten to where
they're
they
at
want to
their
be. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep. That's facts. So maybe it will settle down, but I just feel like I know how loyal Damian Lillard is to Portland and how he wants to build there, but I feel like eventually he's gonna want to win, And
Think he's gonna leave?
I think he might. I mean, I don't think it would be his first choice to do so.
Yeah.
But if he looks at all these other teams around him and they don't get, and if they lose in the first round or they don't get to the conference finals again, which is going to be really difficult to do, I think he's going to look at what's at all the other teams around him and be like, wow, unless we make a big trade for a guy like them, or one of them signs here, we get enough, solid players to do it ourselves, then I can't see myself winning here. I want to go play for the Bucks and be the starting point guard for the Bucks, or I want to go be the starting point guard for the 76ers, or I want to go do this and that for, I'm talking Eastern Conference teams, because if he can go be the starting point guard for the Bucks or the 76ers, to me that makes them finals favorites.
Oh yeah.
Or
the
favorites to
76ers
get out of the East. Yeah, imagine if you replace Ben Simmons.
Yeah, but I don't think he will, is what I'm saying. Like, you think they'll move on from Ben Simmons?
For Damian Lillard, yes.
But I'm saying after all they invested in him? I don't know.
Maybe not.
I would as a GM, but I'm not sure they would.
Maybe not. But I'm just kind of throwing hypotheticals out there. But I just feel like another superstar is going to ask for a trade because they might look around and see their situation is kind of... and I think it would come from the West. And I just feel like they'd look around and be like, wow, we're not competing with these guys, or we're not as good as these guys, and it's hard for us to make these changes. So, but I'm at a point in my career where I want to win, and I want to win bad. So
yeah,
we'll have to see what happens. That's just I don't necessarily want to see that.
You think it's going to happen?
I think things are good the way they are now, but nothing ever stays the same in the NBA. We've learned that. So I guess we'll just have to see.
Yep.
It just seems to happen every year. I don't know. But
I hope it settles down, though.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, I hope it does too.
I think this was cool to happen once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this mobility is good for,
Yeah, this
it happens again.
Is kind of weird, yeah, and kind of it causes too much of a ruckus in too short amount of time for people to process, and it's just like these guys look like team hoppers.
Oh man, listen, man, everybody's home now.
Everybody seems to be where they want to be.
Yeah. So
Anthony Davis said something kind of weird the other day. How he was like, "I'm only here for a year. Let's make the most of it and see what happens." I was like, "Wow, you literally requested to be traded there."
Yeah,
I am a little. I feel like
Rich Paul said they're going into free agency no matter what.
Really? I missed that. Damn.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, but I don't see him not re-signing with the Lakers. I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's LA. Come on, unless it's a disaster,
yeah.
Absolute disaster, But it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. If it's a disaster again for the second year in a row, yeah. I am really going to be questioning that organization.
They have 3 top 5, top 6 players.
LeBron
there's no
reason.
Out. Nah, there's no reason for them not to, do really well this year. They have 3 top 5 players, so or 2.
I was gonna say 3.
No, 2.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. There's absolutely no reason they shouldn't do well this year. There's no reason.
Avery Bradley's the 3rd.
Hey man, don't insult Avery Bradley. I'm telling you.
They got
a nice team in the Lakers. And also Kyle Kuzma is going to be he's a most improved player candidate if he can make that leap.
Yeah, I got to see him as a 3rd option though.
Facts.
It's not an easy role.
Yeah, no, it isn't.
Chris Bosh or Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm. But those are like guys who excelled at that and were all-stars. So
yeah,
you got anything else though? I think that's pretty much everything I have. Hello?
Yeah, same here. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, well, that's going to do it for today, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and comment, let us know what you think, and subscribe for more, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.